Hi everyone, my name once again is Lei'Lanni, and the current event topic that I'm going to be talking about today is a group of women or young women between the ages of 5 and 11 in Texas who had experienced sex trafficking, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse, who were being abused by an organization that was set out to rescue them, help them, bring them in, and make sure that they get the correct resources and help that they need in the future to move on and overall or better their overall quality of life. The issue directly with it is very easy to tell if you cannot already gauge it, but for young women who are just now coming out of a traumatic event such as sex trafficking, sexual abuse, or harassment, or things even such as domestic violence and situations like that, it is very traumatic to them. As somebody who went through a circumstance such as that, minus the sex trafficking part, it can be very detrimental to your mindset, even your mental and physical health. It is something that you will never get over. It's something that you may move on and move past from, but it is always going to be something that you think of, that certain things will trigger you to think of. So, moving on onto the scope and impact. So this specific group, an organization, was an organization that has quote unquote helped hundreds of young girls that had been in situations such as these. So you never actually know what and who has experienced these things and who was treated this way. So now it comes down to who were these young girls? Were these young girls people who had been through a certain part or a certain thing? Or were they different in terms of race? Were they different in terms of ethnicity and culture and religion? So the impact that this will have on these girls, it's very hard to tell because every person is different. But simply, people may have issues, or these young girls may have issues trusting people. The trauma development theory will come into play, and this trauma will be something that sticks in the back of their head forever. This will not be something they can just easily get over. I know it may seem redundant, but that's the only thing that I could genuinely tell you that would make sense and sum everything up into one. It's trauma. It's going to be trauma-based, trauma-filled. It's going to be hard, especially for the parents, to say, hey, it's okay. Those are things that they're gonna be like, hey, I don't know if I'm okay. I don't know how to move on from here. How do I move on? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? The people that were set out to help me abused me mentally and physically. So where do I go from here to make things better? So a policy that goes directly against this. So in the state of Texas, there is a policy that goes directly against sex trafficking, of course, but there is no policy that says, hey, if you are doing something in regards to assisting the children and the young women or men who have endured this type of sexual harassment or sexual endeavor, then you cannot do this, and this. For example, you cannot mentally or physically abuse them. You cannot use their past conflict or past trauma against them to make them feel less or down about themselves. There should be social and ethical standards that goes against them and that they have to abide by in order to reflect positivity and light onto these young people and to these young fellows that are enduring this situation. So the best solution for this, in my opinion, would be to make these organizations not personally ran, if that made sense. Make them go through multiple legality issues, not issues, but multiple steps with like legal identities, with attorneys, with lawyers, so that they make sure that they are in this for the correct reason and that they have the right degree and the right adequate resources to protect, help, and better these women as they go on to, or women and even men, to go on to grow, to be great individuals, to be prosperous from this situation. It's going to be very hard, and the situation is going to be very dense and heavy. So therefore, we need people in these circumstances and in these organizations that are prepared with adequate resources, that are able to handle these situations, have the either degree or background to handle these situations. And there's so much that I could say about what they should have, but cultural competency is up there because different types of people handle things differently. Different cultures, different ethnicities, different religions may handle things differently. For example, a Christian household may look at the child who endured this situation differently than somebody who grew up in a predominantly either Catholic or even atheist household. You genuinely never know. And in terms of culture, you never know, because an African American household may look at them different compared to a Caucasian household, compared to a Latina household, compared to a Hispanic household. You never genuinely know. Everybody looks at it different. So it is up to us as social workers, even in macro social work, to push the policies and to push everything to say, hey, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to get done to better help these children and to better help these people who are going through this terrible and agonizing situation. Because at the end of the day, nobody deserves to go through that. Ever. Ever. Nobody deserves that. And I hope this makes sense. Y'all have a good one.